You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by Projectile Warehouse. Find your perfect projectile. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. My name is Rusty, and I'm sitting in a pub, not really wanting to do a podcast. But joining me in this event is a few different people. We've got a table full. We're up in Darwin. So we'll start with you, Butters. How you doing, mate?
Hello.
You could probably answer the question. How you doing? We finished off the Practical Rifle Challenge yesterday.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
No, it went well. Everyone enjoyed themselves.
Yep. Pretty happy with it?
Yeah, very happy.
So you're match director for it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll get into the match a little bit more. Also joining us, regular podcaster with us now. Been on enough episodes, Zanny McNeil up in Queensland. How you doing?
Good, Rusty. How you going?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. New listener and also new podcaster is Tegan. How you going, Tegan?
Oh, fantastic. Feeling like I'm pretty famous being on the podcast now.
And Tegan is a boy, not a girl.
Just to clarify, in case you could tell from that lovely voice of his.
And sitting next to me is the infamous Fat Jesus. Fat Jesus, we're live, by the way.
Hello, ladies. How are we?
Fat Jesus is ready to go and disease-free. So, guys, and also sitting next to us as well is Mark Peck. How you doing, Mark?
Good afternoon.
And down the other end is Butters' mum and dad, Mick. How you doing, mate?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Very, very good. Jen?
Hi.
Okay, that's close enough to what we're going to get. That's fantastic. So, guys, we are now on Monday afternoon and sinking a few beers. Just had a good meal, and we've wrapped up with the competition. How did you guys feel it went?
Don't all answer at once, guys.
So clearly not very good, and this is that's the end of the podcast. So guys, thanks for coming in. We'll catch you next time.
Let's go off to the honey pot.
So Andy, yourself, mate, you've shot plenty of comps. You won this one last year and failed miserably this year.
Absolutely, abysmally.
How'd you find it?
No, it was good. It was well run. Butters did a great job with the course of fire. It was really good all weekend. We didn't have too many target malfunctions to slow things up, so it ran
Only
really
from Scotty.
smoothly. Yeah, well, that's just a bit of payback to Butters, I think, with all his surrender with made comps. But it ran well. A few silly mistakes on my part, but I think everyone seemed to have a really good time. And there was a lot of new faces just getting along, which was great to see, and get some new people sort of getting in and expanding the sport. Yeah,
that's the best part is so many new faces. And Butters, you got a fairly healthy local league here. You got a lot of local guys. So Tegan and Fatty Jesus and Mark, you guys are all local guys who are shooting the regular season here. How'd you enjoy the big comp?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, that's it. Good. Well,
that's it.
Yeah, well said, Mark. Well said, mate.
Yeah. Fat Jesus, what about yourself, mate? This is your first big comp in Darwin to shoot?
Yeah,
you've shot PRS and the PRI as well.
Yeah, I shot the PRI, then the PRS, and then this is my third big comp. And first big comp up in NT, so it was a pretty good turnout for all the guys that came up. A long way to travel, and pretty small club up here in the NT, and I think Butters and everyone else in the club put together a pretty decent comp.
Yeah, you guys certainly punch above your weight. You're fairly small, sort of little club and comp, but you do it on a national level, certainly, well and truly. And we'll go through placings and stuff, but at least one of you guys came third overall. So it's
Well, it wasn't me.
I'm not looking at you to say you came third. You did terribly, mate. You didn't even place.
No, I didn't.
So
It's the first time I've beat Butters.
I told you, mate. I told you how to beat Butters. Was making match director.
It finally happened.
Yeah, that's
it was amazing.
Well done, mate. So I'd love to break down the comp a little bit, and we had 15 stages over the course of the weekend, and 8 on Saturday and 7 on Friday. Sunday. Usual sort of deal. Friday practice and then 2 days of competition. And I found this comp, compared to the other ones I've been involved with, really laid back, really sort of
good fun, wasn't it?
Casual, very Darwinish, which was very appropriate. And
yeah, we're all pretty slow up here.
Yep. Yep. Hey, Fatty, what's your address, mate? Butters, this is your big event for the year. And how many shoots do you run over the course of the year and all up in the series?
This year I think we run 8 Sunday matches, the big one we've just had, and 3 night shoots.
Yeah, right. So a fairly extensive calendar.
12 shoots for the year, yeah.
Yeah, nice. And so this is the big one, and we had how many competitors?
Had 30 in the end.
Yeah.
Had a couple pull out, but
That always happens.
it always happens.
Yeah.
Few locals, unforeseen circumstances, whatnot, but yeah.
That's pretty good
But-
turnout considering half were from interstate?
More than half.
More than half.
17 were interstaters.
Wow, that's sensational. Get them up to Darwin.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah,
so I was
right.
very
Although,
happy.
having said that, back home in Adelaide, we've had like weather warnings every day, huge amounts of rain, wind, all the fun stuff, and we're sitting here drinking beer in 32 degrees, looking at the beach.
Yep.
So if you're thinking about coming next year,
Big incentive.
don't come for the Saturday or Sunday, but definitely come for the Monday because this is it's not bad at all. Good, mate. So you happy with turnout?
Very happy. I always said to myself, I'd be happy with 30 people. We did get up to 35 at one stage, but obviously people pull out, but that happens. But yeah, 30 was a good number.
Yeah, nice. So I think we're going to do our usual breakdown with something like this, is go through some of the stages. So from what I remember, stage 1 was the punt. Anyone remember that one well enough to run through it?
That was my first stage where we had to shoot off the floating platform, and I probably made the mistake of not practicing on that on the Friday, and I only got one hit on there, and that was something that I probably should have practiced a bit more of, trying to get used to, using that platform and knowing when the right time is to release that shot. So that wasn't really a good start for me. I just found out I was on live again. Seriously, people need to start telling me what's going on around here. They're going to lose my job.
That is not great with Facebook Live, as we found out from the weekend.
Tell you who did good on that platform was actually Scotty's dad.
Bernie, yeah.
Bernie, yeah. He did really well. Yeah, he hit 5 on that, so I think he was one of the top ones from our group. And also Bill, JB's mate, who also shot in the PRS, did fairly good, I think, on that stage as well.
Yeah,
so.
right. And I'm pretty sure the champ got 7. We're not allowed to say his name, but
No,
just the champ.
it's just the champ.
Refer to the champ. Clean white shirt.
Yeah,
nice. And what about stage 2? What was stage 2?
I didn't shoot it.
We can't hear you without a microphone, Butters. What was stage 2?
I think that was the offhand.
Yes, ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous.
Oh, that's
so
right.
yeah,
The
left
knee
hand.
cutter.
Yeah.
Yes, and dragging the gun through the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you go on that
it
one,
wasn't
Rusty?
your gun, Rusty.
we can break that down. So you had 2 shooting positions. One you had to shoot from your dominant shoulder, and then one from your left hand or support shoulder. And the targets were 200 meters away, relatively small targets. And you had a time frame of 90 seconds or something to run through, and go as many as you could, alternating once you hit the target. And I, for some reason being, I thought it was Darwin. It was a nice place to be. Clearly, I was wrong. I wore shorts with no other protection on my knees and managed to make both knees bleed out fairly effectively. But apart from that, it was a good stage. I enjoyed it. Andy, did you like that one?
Yeah, that sort of made a bit of a repeat from last year. Similar thing. Seems like they moved it a little bit further away this year just to make us run a bit further. But
Yep.
no, good fun. Very similar to the 2-stroke or 3-stroke that you guys run down at the PRI.
Yeah. Some inspiration from that. Tegan, how'd you go with that? Have you shot much support shoulder before?
I haven't done. I'm already left-handed anyway, so I think I'm fairly disadvantaged as it is. But
Just in life in
just
general.
in
Don't-
life in
don't
general,
let
not
Batco
even
hear that, mate. You'll be underwater real quick.
Not even shooting in general. But I mean, I shot that one. I was shooting a different scope to what I'd usually run, and it only went to maximum 14 power. So I sort of already had it wound pretty far out when I started practicing with it. And I seem to find my right shoulder, which is my weak shoulder, shots pretty easy. But I still missed a couple, which cost me some time. So
You didn't just miss a couple.
I missed 3 to
No.
be exact.
You got 1 point.
On the ambidextrous, I got 6.
Yeah.
My mistake.
that's
He's a legend. He got
hang
six.
On, hang on. It just turns out, news just in, Tegan, you won. You won the comp.
I now know why I'm so far back in the field. Butters has been putting me
But
down.
Let's go, you won.
in breaking news, Tegan has also been automatically disqualified because he is left-handed.
Yeah, fair call. No, that's why you didn't win. That's a good reason. Yeah, people may not be aware that PRS-related rules, all left-handers are disqualified.
Interesting point. Mark, why? Knowing the fact that Tegan was left-handed, why didn't you put him up for adoption straight away?
He is actually adopted.
Oh, so you're like a charity house.
I mean, he has been offering us
Rusty's
rooms.
actually adopted too now.
I already was, but now I'm in two families. Stage number 3. What was stage number 3, Butters?
I didn't bloody shoot it.
Yeah, but you
Yeah, but
came
you
up
wrote
with
it.
it. You wrote it.
You wrote it stages. You planned it out. You should know.
That was the.
Yeah.
I think that one was the staircase barricade where you had to shoot through the door.
Aperture.
Aperture. Feral.
That was a good one, but not enough time for it.
No, there was plenty of
So
time.
give
People
us
just
the rundown.
No.
Give us the rundown, mate.
Yeah, people
There
dicked
wasn't
around too
enough
much.
There wasn't enough time.
There wasn't meant to be enough.
Not enough if you want to actually have a crack through.
Probably
the
another 30 seconds would have been better. So Aperture, we had our standard staircase barricade, but we added 2 more holes into it. One low down and one a little bit higher that had a swinging, like a dog flap,
Yeah.
basically.
Cat flat.
You had to, from each hole, you had to fire one round at 300, one at 4, one at 500. And it was just hit or miss, you move on, doesn't matter. But once you'd finished those 3 positions at those 3 targets, you went over to the left. Now, what was tricky about the left-hand positions at position 4 was it was a bit of core flute, 25 metres downrange, and it had about a 3.5 inch hole in that core flute.
Yeah.
Enough that you could see that target clearly.
Well, that was the problem. But anyway, we'll come back to that.
Well, the problem was only 2 people actually got to that stage.
Hang on. Hey, no, they didn't.
3?
Well, at least
Several,
4,
mate.
because I did. Bronte did.
Yeah.
A couple
and
other did.
Johnny Sunnets did.
Yep.
I did. Ash did.
Okay, more than 3.
Oh no, Matt. Butters is good at maths.
Yeah.
Very good.
So the idea is still
But
with
the idea
shooting
is
that aperture.
there was that 3-inch core flute hole that you had to fire your round through to hit the 300-metre target and then the 400-metre target.
Yep.
Now, those 2 shots were worth 3 points.
Rather than 1 point.
Every other
Yep.
shot for the weekend was worth 1. What are you doing?
I'm posing for a photo.
Keep going,
Anyway,
Butters.
I'm going to keep going.
You keep going, mate.
No matter what these mob are doing. But anyway, now the danger with shooting through that aperture core flute was that if you hit that core flute, you zeroed the stage.
Completely zero.
So essentially, it was a hard cover target that if you hit it, not allowed, that was it. Stage over, 0. So it was a big high risk, high reward type thing.
Andy, how'd you find that stage, mate? Did you get to the aperture to have a crack?
Yeah, mate, I did all right. Ended up with about 7 or something like that out of the 9. I only dropped a couple, but had time to go to the aperture, just didn't look at it. There was just not enough time to find the targets, and it's too big of a risk for the points to get there, so...
See, I was happy to take the risk. I don't think I scored huge amounts of points, but happy to take the risk for it because there's, an extra 6 points possible. I got
Just
behind
couldn't
that
find it.
aperture. Yeah, couldn't see the damn
We
thing.
had a few of us laid down and had a look,
Yeah.
but that was the same thing. You're
That's
trying
the
to
same.
find it and just trying to find the targets through that aperture being 25 metres in front of you.
Yeah.
Just really struggled.
So I think that people didn't do, and I didn't see him do it, is when Bronny got down, he had about 45 seconds to have a look through. He had heaps of time.
Yep. Backed in.
Now, but what he did is he popped his rifle down and then got behind the rifle and realised he couldn't see a target. What he should have done is looked at his target, lined it up with a hole, and then put his rifle down in line with that, and then all he had to do is work out his height. And unfortunately, those who got to the aperture didn't do that. But
yes,
perhaps
no one got the shot off.
no. So Bronny, I think he found the frame, but he couldn't
No,
quite.
he found the wrong frame. He was looking through and he saw the blue frame.
He saw the wrong frame.
Yeah, and then knew it was the wrong target, so he didn't engage it.
Yeah, so I think maybe an extra 30 seconds would have been good for there, but it was
But it was a good challenge, and it was interesting to see guys try and work out how they could shoot 300 or 400 metres and not hit the piece of core flute. How'd you boys, Tegan and Fat Jesus, how'd you guys go on that stage?
This was my 5th stage of the day, so we started in area 3. So by the time we rolled around, this was my 5th and 6th before we went on to the behemoth. So
Yep.
I tanked pretty hard.
You were over it by then?
Yeah, I tanked pretty hard through most of the opening stages, and through this aperture stage, I actually got through the 3 ports, and I got all 6 shots on, and I was being egged on from behind the scenes to go for the aperture because I'd had plenty of time, but there was no way I was throwing away those 6 points. There, I had them, and I was keeping them.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Fatty,
Yeah,
did you like this stage?
No, because I only got 2 points on it. I was pretty keen at the start because I've used this barricade before, and no matter what I did, I just couldn't get hits on. And I think I only got 2 or 3 hits, and then this sort of like put a bit of doubt for the rest of the day for me because straight after I had Scotty spotting, so Scotty after was like, "Mate, you hit way right."
Yep.
So then the next stage I started aiming way left.
Yep.
And then eventually I realised it was probably just Scotty putting me on because I checked my 0 at the end in the lunch break and there was nothing wrong with it.
Scotty was just throwing you under the bus there, really.
He thought I was a threat to him, so which I was at the start.
Feels threatening.
Yeah, before the first stage I was a threat.
We all really think you're a threat, really.
No, that's it. Cool. So stage number 4, highs and lows. So Butters, this is basically using part of your bed.
I'll just grab him off, Graham. Yes. Old bed. Basically, the foot end of the bed. It just the top. Had a top rail, which would be about the level of your mattress, and then it had a lower rail, the level of the slats underneath the bed. I think essentially you had to fire a few shots underneath that bottom rail, and then a couple between the 2 rails, and then you had to go over to the inclined barrier and shoot a couple off that.
Yeah, right. And that incline barrier was frustrating. I'd never shot anything quite like that.
Good.
And if I had my choice, I never will again. But I will because I need to get better at it. But that was something very different for me.
Yeah, well,
Mark, how'd you go with that?
Not real good because I normally don't do that on the bed. I do different things on the bed, so I've never practiced doing that sort of stuff on that bed, so absolutely no good.
Speaking of Mark in bed, Tegan, how did you go on that stage?
I'm pretty sure I did all right on that stage. Not anything to really rave about, but the highs and lows area I did okay with and got through the highs and lows area. But I got to that incline section and started shooting from that. And I'm pretty sure there was 5 shots from that incline and I missed all 5 of them. And the RO actually said after I got off, he said, you might want to stop slapping that trigger because that's pretty much why I missed every shot. Was I started yanking on the trigger thinking I was running out of time and just started missing every shot that I was pulling. So yeah, the old saying of you can't miss fast enough, so I pulled it off big time.
I've never heard that saying.
Well, you certainly should, mate, because you missed plenty.
Yeah, I did actually on that one.
Particularly those 8 balls. But anyway, we'll get back to
we haven't got that
that.
stage yet.
Onto the PRS skills stage number 5.
Yeah.
Andy, you've shot plenty of PRS skills stages before. This was like an adaptation of one?
Yeah, very very similar, obviously, to one of the ones.
Number 3, I believe.
That's right. We used down at the PRS, just a slight variation on it, but essentially just working your way out from 200 through to 500, and then running up, getting a mag, swapping to your weak side, and working your way back in again. Cleaned the stage, didn't do it overly quickly. This was pretty early on one of the days, and for me, and was having a little bit issues with my 0, but cleaned it no worries. Just took a bit longer to do it, and that ended up being what cost me with Scotty with tying. He did it a little bit quicker.
Oh, this is the one.
It was a bit like a role reversal of down at the PRS.
Yeah, that's right. So
This was the tiebreaker stage as well.
yeah, one of the tiebreakers. This was my first stage of the weekend, so my first stage ever in any shooting comp of any type. And I was watching through my scope, and my heart was beating about 4 mil off the target. So I was going every time my heart beat, I'd be about 4 mil high above the target and back onto it. So I just took it really slowly. I got 7 out of 7 hits. Had a possible 8, but I didn't finish in time because I figured I'm feeling quite nervous here, so I may as well just take it nice and slow and get some points, which we managed to do somehow.
Good way to start the day with some points on early. Makes you build that confidence up, especially being first time behind the rifle as opposed to organising.
Yeah, that's right, but it didn't seem to help. Nice, and that was one where we had to hold, couldn't dial, which is certainly no big deal. You guys found that all no problem?
Yeah, I was pretty good with that stage. I think I got 8. So
You're also pretty humble as well, actually.
I'm the most humble person you'll ever meet in your life. No, I really enjoyed it. I think I did it in 82 seconds, so I was pretty comfortable. And that was a bit of a boost that I needed after having 2 shockers at the start. So I kind of got my confidence back. And I wish my parents had actually stayed to actually watch me do that one, because they were there to watch me for that morning. And I think after my poor performance, they decided they got better things to do than watch their son hit missed targets, and they left. so I kid you not, they bailed. And love Mum and Dad. And but no, it was I enjoyed this stage. It was good to have one of those stages where you sort of get your confidence back.
Nice, right? Nice. And so that brings us on to stage 6, the crosswalk, which was great. Yeah. Butters. Butters has spilled his second beer
Bloody
for the
hell.
morning.
It's his second beer of the year.
No, that wasn't me that spilled that.
And so, Butters, you want to run us... Actually, I wanted to get you to run us through the behemoth because you're the only person that understood it. So, Tegan, do you want to run us through the crosswalk? You would have shot that barricade a few times.
I've shot that barricade a few times. Not much.
Doesn't really help?
Not much to help. This crosswalk is essentially a cross...
Pain in the arse?
Cross frame, big X with a big rail that goes to the ground, and basically 6 shooting positions that Butters is the manufacturer of, so of course the angles and all that weren't exactly cut correctly. So
or straight.
So
or
every time you put your rifle down, you're shooting from a different position, and so you got 6 shots from different positions, starting from 500. There's 2 different positions for that. Yeah. Then you go down to a lower area, which there's 2 shots at 2 different positions at 400. Then you go down lower again, and there's two shots at 300. And then basically there's a rope tied to the side of the cross just to make things a little bit more difficult.
Let's say a string. Rope's generous.
And I can't even bag anyone out for this stage because I was the one who tied that rope on at the start of the weekend. So I probably should have put a little bit more effort into it, I think. And
that's right.
Yeah, 2 shots.
More than just granny knots.
Two shots at 200 meters from the rope, and then you got 2 shots prone at 500 meters. So locally, we've never actually had anyone clean that stage. So 10 out of 10 points, we've never actually had anyone. And a majority of our local members, I'm not sure, throughout the weekend, being in a different squad to a lot of people, I don't know how people went, but traditionally a lot of people haven't even made it to the prone position. So you are quite restricted with only 120 seconds.
Yeah, right. And Andy, how'd you go on this one, mate?
Yeah, this made a repeat from last year, so sort of knew what I was in for a little bit. Target sizes varied a little bit this year. Butters made them a little bit smaller compared to last year as well, but didn't do too bad actually. I think I got about 6 out of the 10. Got all the way through the prone. Missed a couple of those more unstable ones at 500 from the standing and things. I think missed
How'd
one
you
of
go
them.
off the string?
I think I got 1. That was about it. It's pretty unstable. I know it's only 200, but hanging on that bit of rope certainly. String, bit of string. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Nice. Yeah, it's good stage, and I think the big thing was you had to move not just like down the X and then back up the other side. You had to go from one side far to the other side and then come down across. It was an interesting way of doing it. Really good. Harder than it looks, actually. Fatty, you were going to say something?
Yeah, it was, Rusty.
Okay, we'll move on then. So, but as the next one. The next one is the Behemoth, and this was perhaps appropriately named.
It was
this
a big
stage
bugger.
confused most people who got near it,
Didn't confuse
and
me.
even just some of the people who live close by. Do you want to run us through it?
Well,
do you want some written support so you can?
Mate, I need to read this myself. Here we go. We got
one,
something here.
This was a big stage. So about 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
It was a 4-minute stage. Total of 18 rounds for the rifle, unlimited for a shotgun. So we had a shotgun segment. So essentially, we had two IPSC 50%, one at 200, one at 300, one at 400. And then we had our standard targets out at 200, 300, 400 and 500 metres. And essentially a shooter, they started in the standard port arms position. Once the buzzer went, they went to the prone pretty much right in front of them. And they were to shoot a single round at all the targets I just mentioned. So 6 rounds from the prone. Jump up, unload the rifle, and leave the rifle there. Race over to a position maybe 20 metres to the left.
Yep.
Grab one of the shotguns, load, and we had 3 popper targets to knock down.
Those bloody popper targets.
We'll
Anyway, we'll come back to them.
They cause some troubles for some people. So knock down those 3, race back over to your rifle, grab your rifle, pick it up. Then we had a little hedgehog frame, or a tank trap as others call them.
As the name actually is for them. But no, that's right.
So race over there, and from the hedgehog, you would have fired 2 shots at the 300 metre IPSC target, 50%, and then 2 shots at the 400 metre IPSC target. Simple enough. Then race over. That was about 15 metres in front of the mound.
Yep.
Then we'll race another 20 metres to the right, but maybe another 10 metres in front of the mound to the slope barricade. 3 shots of the 400 metre circle. Jump off that and go another
75 metres.
No,
that's
we had
right,
one in
25 to a
between.
cone.
So maybe another.
Not everyone ran to the cone.
So maybe there was another cone about 20 metres in front. They had to take a shot at the 200 metre target.
It was optional.
It was not optional. Someone did skip it, which I didn't see, the mongrels. But anyway, this one caused a bit of issues because some people would get down on the prone, but with the nature of the range, we have mounds every 25, 50, 100 metres, 200 metres. And because this was between the 25 and 50 metre target, a 50 metre mound, people would go prone and they'd be hitting that 50 metre mound. One person who is sitting right next to me hit both. He hit the mound and the target.
And he did it after time, though, didn't he?
No, he did. It's just after time. Poor bugger.
Dumb rule.
But then following that, and if you're still with me, we run another 60-odd metres to the 100-metre mound, and you were to take 4 shots. 1 at 300, 1 at 400, and 2 at the 500 metre targets.
Which actually would have been the 200, the 300,
which all would have been
400.
100 metres shorter, yes. Yeah. And, 4 minutes to do it, and it took a while for people to get to the end of that one.
So what we're just going to do, we're going to leave a moment here, a pause, so people can go rewind and listen back to that about 7 or 8 times, just so they can get a head around what this stage held. And I have to say I'm guilty here because I shot the wrong target on one of the shots. It was a lot to keep in your head at one time, and those damn popper targets. Tegan,
hang on.
Well, okay, what?
Oh, sorry, Butters. Sorry. Yeah,
sorry,
we won't
Butters,
cut you off, mate. Yeah.
No, that's all right.
We're distracting Fatty here from his Tindering.
Sorry,
Mate, I'm always Tindering, eh? I'm always on the go.
I can do Tinder for you.
Can ya?
Just swipe right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the way.
Right,
all right,
cool.
there we go.
All right, so he's back on deck.
Back on, yeah.
So, Fatty.
Yeah, this the Behemoth. Well, I was the first one up for Behemoth.
Oh, you were
as
too.
we all do. And this was
Right.
pretty interesting. I didn't have no issues remembering any of the stages because I wrote everything down on my arm.
You had a massive sleeve tattoo.
Yeah, I had a
for
massive
one
sleeve
stage.
tattoo, and I had written down every single range of the targets, and then also what stage they were, what position, and also what my holes were. So I was actually pretty.
And also a few phone numbers of some of the blokes who met at the range.
I just want to share the Fatty love.
Yep.
No, I did all right on this. I got 13, and I was pretty happy with that. I was actually very stoked, and I think a lot of people had seen.
Oh, hang on. He just got a match.
Oh, you guys just killed my
Fatty's
Tinder.
on.
No, I do not want to purchase that. All right, back on. Oh, hello, sailor. I used all my likes. Anyway, back to shooting. So I think
What's Tinder?
Mark's wondering what Tinder is. We'll maybe do an episode with Fatty about what Tinder is.
Dad, it's like Grindr, like what you're on at the moment.
Hope we're getting royalties for this.
Tinder's one of my sponsors.
Righto, Fatty.
Yeah.
Behemoth, you went first.
Yeah, so I was first.
Had tattoos up your arm.
Yep.
And then went back with Andy.
Yeah, no, so I was pretty I was pretty happy. I got the first I think I got the first 6. They were on the prone, hit the poppers. And then I think I missed a couple on the hedgehog. I got the ones on the incline. Got my first I got the first one off, hit the target on the offhand, which I was pretty stoked about.
Yeah, sensational.
Missed the second one, and then.
Hang on, was the offhand? Offhand was the second day.
Offhand was.
It was a different stage.
No, that was on the Behemoth. The offhand, wasn't it?
There
was one offhand.
Oh, the 200 metre one.
Oh, that's right.
The optional one.
Yeah, so I did.
You got him confused. He's thinking of the wrong stage.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong one.
Well, I haven't got him written down on my arms. I can't remember him.
It just shows how confusing this stage is, where you hear one, you don't know which was which.
But I hit that first cone for the offhand. I sort of just threw that one because I wanted to get to the far end, and I got down to the ground, went to load around, but then realised that I think I'd ran out of magazine, and by the time I eventually got a new mag on and loaded one in the chamber, I timed out. But I was pretty happy with the 13 because I did pretty bad on the previous one, so it's nice to get back some points back on the scoreboard.
Yeah, you set the bar pretty high there, Tegan.
Yeah, I think everyone was shocked. I think I even tied with the champ on that one.
I did throw it to Tegan. Sorry, mate.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, no, cut me off there, Fatty J.
Yeah, sometimes you get cut ears off.
Hey, we're Tegan. Fatty, we're live, mate.
Are we? Yeah, so go on, Tegan.
No, the Behemoth, I was trying to work out ways that I could write notes down on my arms. I was wearing long sleeve shirts, so that made it a bit difficult, but I was even thinking about maybe making some notes on my rifle because no matter how many times I read the brief, I just could not remember which targets I was shooting at which point. So I struggled a little bit with this one with shooting wrong targets as well, and I made it through okay, and I pretty much got to the cone at 200 metres where you could make your choice of which position you wanted to go to, and pretty much just racked around in the rifle, pointed roughly where the target was going, and then just let it go, and then kept running to the 100 metre mound and try to get my prone shots on, just trying to gain those extra 4 points. I think I got 2 rounds off and then timed out. So I didn't get as many on as I wanted to, but that stage is obviously a big point one and didn't quite get there. Bit of a shame.
Nice. I came off that 200 metre optional shoot and nearly stacked it as running over the mound. Nearly went face first into the dirt, and Butters was right next to me, wishing for it to happen. I think he may have actually tripped me.
No, I wasn't wishing because you were holding my rifle.
Yeah, fair point. Pecky, how'd you go with this one, mate?
You're talking about Behemoth. I'm not going to be much help with any of this podcast. I sometimes don't even remember my wife's name, so I don't remember a lot of things anymore. So, yeah, I can't help you on that one.
There's one thing you may remember. Do you know where Fat Jesus lives? Have you got his address?
No, but I am going to message him and get that address.
Good. Well, I have to say about it, apart from perhaps some confusing instructions, generally speaking, the Behemoth was a really good stage. If you boys agree at all, but I thought it was a nice big epic stage where you got lots going on. Those damn poppers for the shotgun, though, too far away for 7.5s, mate. There was just too many shots on that hit that would not knock the damn thing over.
I think that middle one in particular.
That middle one was the worst.
Probably Butter's answer for that one is, I dry fired it. It's fine.
That's right.
Yeah. Every time, hey Butters, have you run this stage to make sure the timing's okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I dry fired it.
I used a broom to dry fire it. Yeah.
I got all hits.
It was
100%.
It was definitely one of those stages, though. Reading the brief, I think everyone was going in very confused. But once
I set my book on fire. I didn't understand.
That's right. But once you saw it set up in front of you, it made a lot more sense actually being able to see where you had to go.
Fatty ran it, yeah.
Yeah. Once I sorted it out, a bunch of muppets.
Nice. So, and there was one more stage, which was 201, which was one more stage that day, which was, you said, Butters, the favourite stage last year.
Yeah, 201 was the dartboard 100 metre paper stage. And yeah, it was the favourite last year just because it was so different.
So, yeah, very different for a PRS style shoot
Exactly.
where you're at 100 metres shooting paper,
Exactly right.
which on paper sounds odd for this type of shoot.
Yeah. So, but the idea is you had a dartboard on an A3 bit of paper, 100 metres down range, and instructions were simple. Score.
As simple as Behemoth.
Yeah, very. You just had to score 201 points in as